To the text of the hadith. An Ā'ishah radiyallahu anha, on the authority of our mother, the mother of the believers, Abdullah, the daughter of Abu Bakr Siddiq, the best of Allah's creatures after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our mother Ā'ishah reported, Anna Fātimah bint Abī Ubaysh, that a lady among the companions of the noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whose name is Fātimah bint Abī Ubaysh. Fātimah bint Abī Ubaysh was also one of the muhajirat, one of the women that migrated from Mecca with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She was married to Abdullah bin Jahash. Abdullah bin Jahash. And there is something interesting about these people, Fātimah bint Abī Ubaysh and the Jahash. You see, Abdullah ibn Jahash was one of the earliest converts to Islam in Mecca. In fact, he did hijrah to Habasha, himself and his brother Ubaydullah. But Ubaydullah became Tanassara fil Habasha. He became a Christian when he got there. So Abdullah ibn Jahash returned and did the hijrah to Medina, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He fought at the Battle of Badr. So who are Badriyun? And he was killed at the Battle of Uhud. There is something interesting about Abdullah ibn Jahash. On the eve of the Battle of Uhud, he actually made a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be killed at the battle. Not only that, he also prayed to Allah that whoever killed him should mutilate his body. They should chop off his hair, his nose, and any other part of the body that they can chop off. In fact, they should even remove his intestine. Can you imagine that level of iman? And Allah accepted his dua. He was actually killed at the Battle of Uhud, and his killer actually removed, muthila bijuthatihi. His corpse was mutilated, and he was buried alongside Hamza, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, who was also killed at the Battle of Uhud. He was buried in the same cupboard with Hamza. Are we following? Now, the interesting story is that I told you that Abdullah ibn Jahash, the Jahash had 3 daughters. One of them is Hamnatu bint Jahash, who was married to Mus'ab bin Umair. You know Mus'ab bin Umair? The first ambassador in Islam. The Prophet ﷺ sent him to Medina to go and do dawah there before the hijrah. Was a very young man. So Hamnatu bint Jahash was a younger sister to Abdullah bin Jahash, the husband of Fātimah bint Abī Ubaysh. There is also Habība bint Jahash. The historians have divergent opinions about her name. Some people say she is Habibatu Habib. She is Habibatu Habib bint Jahash. But what seems to be the most popular name is that she is Habiba, because this is how the hadith in the Sahihain have come. We will read the hadith next week, inshallah. Habiba bint Jahash. She was married to the noble companion Abdurrahman bin Auf. The third of the Jahash sisters is Zainabu bint Jahash, our mother, radiyallahu ta'ala anha, who was earlier married to Zayd bin al-Haritha. You read the ayah in the Quran, فَلَمَّا قَضَى زَيْدٌ مِنْهَا وَطَرًا. She was the one that Allah married to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, زَوَّجْنَاكَهَا. And our mother used to say proudly, my nikah was conducted by Allah himself. Subhanallah. So, Zainab bint Jahash, Hamnatu bint Jahash, Habiba bint Jahash, the 3 of them, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani mentioned in Al-Isaba, fi Tamyiz al-Sahaba, Ibn Hajar mentioned that the 3 of them used to experience istihādah. This is the interesting part of the story. Hamnatu bint Jahash, Habiba bint Jahsh, and Zainab bint Jahsh. The three of them used to experience what? Istihādah, over prolonged bleeding. Now, their brother, Abdullah ibn Jahsh, married Fātimah bint Abī Ubaysh. His own wife again experiences istihādah. So, four of them experienced istihādah. The ulama said there were about 17 women during the time of the Prophet ﷺ that used to experience istihādah. About 17 of them. So, when you look at the ahadith on istihādah in all the kutub al-ahadith, they revolve around these four people that I have mentioned. Hamnatu bint Jahsh, Habiba bint Jahsh, Zainab bint Jahsh, and Fātimah bint Abī Ubaysh. Are we following now? So, this woman, radiallahu ta'ala anha, our mother Ā'ishah was the one reporting this hadith. There's a riwayah from Fātimah bint Abī Ubaysh herself that she came and asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This hadith is contained in nearly all the books of ahadith, including the Muwatta of Al-Imam Malik rahimahullah. The hadith is actually reported from Hisham bin Urwa bin Zubayr, from his father Urwa bin Zubayr, from our mother Ā'ishah. That is the standard of the hadith. So this woman, Sa'alatin Nabiyya sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, she came to ask the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Faqalat, our question goes thus: Inni ustahadu. She didn't say astahidu. She didn't use the fi'l al-ma'lum. She used the sigha of majhul. Inni ustahabu. I experience prolonged bleeding. Prolonged bleeding. Fala atuhur. I am hardly pure at any time. It means that she is saying for the majority of the months, I experience bleeding coming out from my private parts. Now, she has expressed her concerns. Inni ustahabu fala atuhur. I experience prolonged bleeding. I am hardly pure. Most times, blood just keeps coming out. Now, she had come to her question. You know, this one is just the preface. The question now is, Afa ada'u salah? Afa ada'u as-salah? Hamza al-istifham. Shall I stop praying? Shall I abandon salah? Because blood is coming out. Am I to pray with the blood, or I should quickly leave salat? Maybe Almighty Allah has given me the leverage. Faqala, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, subhanallah, you always enjoy the manner of his response to questions. You know, the woman did a preface. This is what I'm experiencing, right? She now asked a question. Should I abandon salat? The Prophet ﷺ answered her question first before addressing her issue. So he said, La taturiki salah. Don't abandon salat. You must pray. He now addressed her concern. Inna dhaliki irikun. Inna dhaliki irikun. What you experience is a rupture in the veins. Irik, a rupture in the veins. What does this mean? If you take a razor blade, or any sharp object, and you cut any part of your body, blood will come out, right? Because your entire body is covered in veins. So when you cut any part of your body, what you cut is one of the veins carrying blood, and blood will start coming out. That blood will continue to come out until that area is sealed. Then the blood will continue to flow in the veins. It's like you have burst, you burst a pipe, and water is gushing. So when you seal that part, what happens? Water continues to flow. The Prophet is explaining to her that what you experience beyond your monthly flow is not a continuation of your monthly flow. It is eric, a rupture in the vein. There's another riwayah by the Ashabu Sunan. Some of the scholars said this riwayah has issues. But that riwayah is that Prophet Solomon said, Innaha raqdatun min raqadati shaitan. Innaha raqdatun min raqadati shaitan. It is one of the tricks of Shaitan. Shaitan is the one playing pranks on you. Like he is the one that will kick the vein and the vein will rupture. So our blood will keep coming out. Do you know why? Because he wants to cause confusion for you in your matters of the deen. Shaitan doesn't want you to observe Salat. So he will kick one of the veins and then cause injury in that part. So that by the time blood starts coming out, you will be confused. Should I pray? Should I not pray? Are we following? But that riwayah has some issues as far as many of the ulama are concerned. There's another riwayah that I will talk about. It is a ziyada which also has issues according to the ulama. But he said, Inna dhalika irik, that which you experience is a rupture in the vein. It is not hayd. ولكن دعي الصلاة قدر الأيام التي كنت تحيضين فيها. Leave salat, stay away from salat for the exact number of days that you are used to menstruating. It means that if your normal days of menstruation are 6 or 7, but you experience blood flow for about 15 days, what you have to do is da'i salah, leave salat, qadra al-ayyam allati kunti tahidina fiha, in the number of days that you use for your menstruation. Leave salat for 6 or 7 days that are your normal days of menstruation. Thumma tasili wa salli. After those days have been completed, your normal days of menstruation, take your bath. That is the bath that women take after the menstrual blood has flowed. It is the same bath you take for janaba. It's the same, just the difference of intention. So take your bath, wasalli, and resume salah. This is one riwayah. Wafi riwayah, in another riwayah, the Prophet said, Innama dhaliki irikun. That is a rupture in the vein. Walaysa bil hayda. This riwayah is contained in the Muwatta of Imam Malik also. That is a rupture in the vein. Walaysa bil hayda. It is not the menstrual blood. That excess days, what you experience therein is not the menstrual blood. فَإِذَا أَقْبَلَتِ الْحَيْضُ. In another riwayah, فَإِذَا أَقْبَلَتْ حَيْضَتُكِ. When your days of menstruation begin, فَتْرُكِ الصَّلَاةَ فِيهَا. Do not pray in those days. فَإِذَا ذَهَبَ قَدْرُهَا. But when the number of days of your normal menstruation is complete, فَغْسِلِي أَنْكِ الدَّمَ. Wash the blood from your body. وَصَلِّي. And observe or resume salah. It is important to also note, like I mentioned, there's a riwayah contained in the Sunan of Abu Dawud and At-Tirmidhi, alayhima rahmatullah, that Prophet said, Inna dam al-hayd damun aswadun yu'raf. Inna dam al-hayd damun aswadun yu'raf. It can also be read as damun aswadun ya'rif. Yu'raf or ya'rif. What does this mean? The Prophet said the menstrual blood is a dark and known blood. It is dark in color, not reddish, not brownish, and it is known to who? Known to women. Every woman that is menstruating knows how her menstrual blood looks like. They know. If you read it as Yorov, it means women know. It is known to women. If you read it as Ya'arif, it means it smells. Ya'arifu, it smells, it has odor. Women know that menstrual blood smells. It has a foul smell. Normal blood does not smell. If you cut yourself now, just the smell is a normal smell. It doesn't have foul smell, right? Not foul. But you see menstrual blood, it has foul smell. Many of the ulama rejected this ziyada because it is reported from just one narrator, Muhammad bin Amr, who is popularly known as Ibn al-Qama. Muhammad bin Amr Ibn al-Qama, that is his name. Ibn Hajar rahimahullah ta'ala said in his taqrib, Sadukun lahu awham. Sadukun lahu awham. He is a reliable narrator, but he has issues, he has confusions. And when such a narrator narrates a hadith and he has mukhalafa, it negates what other more reliable narrators have narrated. Such a narration is not accepted to many of the ulama. So that is why, and then another reason is that it negates what is found in Al-Bukhari and Muslim. And you know that in terms of rating, we rate Al-Bukhari and Muslim ahead of all other collectors of the hadith because of the authenticity of their books. Another reason why this narration is rejected is because the narration I read now, which is in the Sahihain, the Prophet told Fātimah bint Abī Ubaysh to consider Ā'ishah, a tradition of menstruation. How many days do you menstruate? Count those days. Anything beyond those days, discountenance it. But this hadith of Damul Haid, Damun Aswadun Ya'rif or Yu'raf implies at-tamyiz, not al-'ada. It implies what? At-tamyiz. At-tamyiz is that differentiation between the menstrual blood and the non-menstrual blood. And these are two issues that conflict with each other. But then, in our next class, inshallah, I'll also explain what the ulama have said concerning this. Because menstruating women are not on the same level. There are al-mubtada'atu, al-mubtada'a, a woman that has just started her menstruation, a girl that has just attained the age of puberty. This is her first menstruation. How will she know the number of days that she is to start, that she is to do menstruation for? How will she recognize the difference between the menstrual blood and the normal blood when she has never experienced menstruation before? So there are issues around this that the ulama have explained. There is also al-mu'tada. Al-mu'tada, a woman that has experienced menstruation before. But then there is also an-nasiya, a woman that has forgotten her days of menstruation. She doesn't even know how many days she used to menstruate. So how will she calculate the days of menstruation? But talking about at-tamyiz and al-'ada, the ulama mentioned that there are about 4 differences between the menstrual blood and the normal blood. And this is how a lady is going to know whether the blood she is seeing is damul haid or damul istihādah. The first differentiation they give is that in terms of color, damul haid is dark. It is darkish, whereby normal blood is reddish or brownish. Are we following? Are women in the class? Are the sisters here? Okay. The menstrual blood is dark. It is not reddish like the normal blood. So when a woman checks her pad and she is still seeing the darkish blood, it means she is still menstruating. But when she starts seeing traces of normal blood, which is red, or let's say brownish, then her menstruation has ended. She is only experiencing prolonged bleeding. The second thing, the ulama, and the evidence is the hadith I mentioned, the ziyada found from Muhammad bin Amr bin Al-Qama, right? In Abu Dawud and At-Tirmidhi. The second, and then there is also the hadith of our mother Ā'ishah, when she talked about the istihādah of Hamna bint Jahsh, that sometimes when she comes to the house of her sister Zainab bint Jahsh, she used to take her bath in a bowl, and then the blood will now rise to, and then they see the color that no, this is a normal blood, not the menstrual blood. The second difference the ulama have stated is that menstrual blood does not clot. It doesn't clot. It just stains the pad. It doesn't clot. But normal blood clots. Is that when you drop, imagine, just recall when you slaughter your Ileya ram. In a few minutes, the blood will start what? It will start clotting. Menstrual blood doesn't clot. Normal blood clots. So this is another difference between the damul haid and damul istihādah. The third thing the ulama mentioned is ar-rā'iha, the smell, which I mentioned earlier when you read it as ya'arifu instead of yu'rafu. Menstrual blood has foul smell. Normal blood does not smell. So if a woman is confused, which blood is this? Is it menstrual blood or normal blood? She can smell it. And then she will see that, oh, this one is menstrual blood. The fourth thing they mention is ariqa. Menstrual blood is thick. Normal blood is light. Menstrual blood is thick. Normal blood is light. So these are some of the differences the ulama have mentioned concerning the menstrual blood and the normal blood. I also read from one of the ulama that menstrual blood comes out with pain. Women experience pain when they are menstruating. But for damul istihādah, it in most cases is not accompanied with pain. It just comes out. She will just feel something has exited her body, but she will not feel the pain like they feel the menstrual cramps during menstruation. So Allah Ta'ala alam, these are some of the things the ulama have mentioned. So we understand from this hadith that our mother Fātimah bint Abī Ubaysh ذكرت للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. She mentioned to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم أن دم الاستحاضة يصيبها, that she experiences prolonged bleeding. فلا ينقطع عنها, she is never freed from it. Every time she experiences blood flow. وسألته هل تترك الصلاة لذلك. She asked the Prophet ﷺ, هل تترك الصلاة لذلك, that should she abandon salat because of this blood flow? فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تترك الصلاة, do not abandon salat. لأن الدم الذي تترك لأجله الصلاة هو دم الحيض, because the blood for which one is required to abandon salah is the blood of haid. Any other blood apart from that of haid does not necessitate the abandonment of salah. وهذا الدم الذي يصيبك, but this blood that you experience, the blood flow that you experience, ليس دم حيض, it is not the menstrual blood. وإنما هو دم munfajirun. It is only a blood that comes out due to rupture in the vein. وَإِذَا كَانَ الْأَمْرُ كَمَا ذَكَرْتِ, and if the matter is as you have mentioned, مِنْ اسْتِمْرَارِ خُرُوجِ الدَّمِ, that you experience continuous flow of blood, فِي أَيَّامِ حَيْضَتِكِ الْمُعْتَادَةِ, during your normal days of menstruation, وَفِي غَيْرِهَا, and in days other than your days of menstruation, فَاتْرُكِ الصَّلَاةَ أَيَّامَ حَيْضِكِ, abandon salah during the days of your normal menstruation. Al-mu'tada faqat, during the days of your normal menstruation. فَإِذَا انْقَضَتْ, after the end of your days of menstruation, فَاغْتَسِلِي, take the bath, which is the ritual bath for purification. You know, Almighty Allah says in the Quran, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْمَحِيضِ قُلْ هُوَ أَذًى فَاعْتَزِلُوا النِّسَاءَ فِي الْمَحِيضِ وَلَا تَقْرَبُوهُنَّ حَتَّى يَطْهُرْنَ فَإِذَا تَطَهَّرْنَ, when they have taken their bath, فَأْتُوهُنَّ مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ. So فَاغْتَسِلِي, take your bath, وَاغْسِلِي عَنْكِ الدَّمَ, wash the blood from your body, ثُمَّ صَلِّي, and then resume salah. وَلَوْ كَانَ دَمُ الْإِسْتِحَاضَةِ مَعَكِ, even if the blood flow continues, resume your salah. What are the things you have learned from this hadith? مَا يُخَذُ مِنْ الْحَدِيثِ. The first thing is الْفَرْقُ بَيْنَ دَمِ الْإِسْتِحَاضَةِ وَبَيْنَ دَمِ الْحَيْضِ. This hadith indicates that there is a difference between the prolonged bleeding and the menstrual blood. What is the difference? The Prophet told Fātimah bint Abī Ubaysh that the prolonged bleeding does not necessitate or require abandoning salah, abandoning fasting, and in fact, abandoning al-jima'. A woman who is experiencing prolonged bleeding can observe salah, observe fasting, and even engage in sexual intercourse with her husband, even if the blood is coming from her body, because that blood carries no legal ruling. She is as any other woman that is not experiencing any blood flow. فَدَمُ الْإِسْتِحَاضَةِ هُوَ الْمُطْلَقِ. The prolonged bleeding is the one that can come anytime. وَأَمَّا دَمُ الْحَيْضِ فَلَهُ وَقْتٌ خَاصٌ. The menstrual blood has its specific time during which it flows. The second lesson we have learned from the hadith is that أَنَّ دَمَ الْإِسْتِحَاضَةِ لَا يَمْنَعُ مِنَ الصَّلَاةِ وَسَائِرِ الْعِبَادَاتِ. The prolonged bleeding does not prevent one from observing salah and any other act of worship. It does not, unlike the blood of hayd, menstruation. Number 3, أَنَّ دَمَ الْحَيْضِ. We learn from the hadith that the menstrual blood يَمْنَعُ مِنَ الصَّلَاةِ prevents a woman from observing salah. It is haram for a woman to observe salah during her menstruation. She is a sinner and she will be punished for it unless she makes tawbah, because it is haram. It is haram for her to observe fasting. Haram. If she is reciting the Quran, it is permitted for her to do sajdatu at-tilawa. If she is reciting the Quran while she is menstruating, she can do the prostration of tilawa if she reads any part of the 15 parts of the Quran where we are required to do sujood. If she receives good news her result came out and it was fine, or any other good news, she is permitted to do sajdatu shukr, prostration of appreciation of Allah's bounty. She can do her adhkar, like I mentioned earlier, but fasting, salah, no. But a woman experiencing prolonged bleeding can engage in any of these. We also learn from the hadith that أن دم الحيض يمنع من الصلاة من غير قضاء لها. One of the mercies of Allah is that a woman is given days off during her menstrual cycle. She doesn't observe salat, but she is not required to repeat the salat. Do you know why? Because salat contains 17 units per day, 17 rak'at per day. If a woman menstruates for an average of 6 to 7 days, I told you earlier, that's the average, 6 to 7 days. Some of the ulama said the maximum is 15 days. Some even mention 17 days. Now, if a woman experiences menstrual cycle for 3, 5, 6, 7 days, 17 rakat every day times 5, 6, 7, and you ask her to repeat that salat, you will kill her. How? How will she repeat it? Oh, when? So Almighty Allah says, I dash you. But since fasting is just once per day, repeat that one. We will read the hadith, maybe in our the class after the next. A lady came to our mother Ā'ishah and she asked our mother, why are women allowed days off during menstruation? They don't fast and they don't pray, but they are asked to repeat the fast and not the salat. When she asked this question, do you know what our mother Ā'ishah said? She said, Aharuriyatun anti? Are you from the Khawarij? That's the question. Because the Khawarij said a woman has to repeat a salat. So our mother felt, Aharuriyatun ant? Are you from the Khawarij? She said, no, I'm not. Oh. She quickly cleared herself. She said, that was how women during the time of the Prophet ﷺ used to do. They abandon salat and fasting. They are asked to repeat the fast, not the salat. Shikenan, that's the answer. So you don't need to rationalize anything. That is the answer. So Almighty Allah said, don't repeat salat. And there is a lesson for all husbands here. Allah who created women gives them monthly holiday. Go and enjoy yourself. Don't pray. I dash you. There's a lesson for all husbands here if you are married, that you must always give your women times to cool off. There should be times when you assist them to take care of some responsibilities. If Almighty Allah, their Lord, our Lord, can give them time off, who are you that you want to kill somebody else's daughter with work? She wakes up in the morning, work, clean the house, wash the plate, clean the toilet, bathe the children, prepare breakfast, and you are somewhere lying down with your legs crossed, one on top of the other, pressing phone. You are not a good man. You should wake up before your wife wakes up, clean the kitchen, wash the plate, sweep the house, clean the toilet, and occasionally you make breakfast and give it to them while they are still sleeping. Say breakfast in bed. You should take time to also assist her in bathing the children and preparing them for school, so that she doesn't become overburdened and overwhelmed. So there is a lesson here for all men to learn. And this is what keeps our wives fresh all the time. But if you overburden her with work, she will look older than her age and much more older than her mates. And then you start thinking about another wife because this one is old and worn out. But you are the one that overburdened her. You don't consider the wear and tear. It's like you're using a car, you are not servicing the car. Sometimes our women also need their paint to be changed. Like you change the paint of your cars and house. So, وذكر ابن دقيق العيد الحافظ ابن دقيق العيد mentioned in his book إحكام الأحكام شرح عمدة الأحكام أن ذلك كالمجمع عليه من الخلف والسلف إلا الخوارج, that the ruling concerning women who are experiencing menstruation, that they are to repeat only the fast and not the salat, is a matter of consensus among the ulama, khalafan wa salafan, both the latter scholars and the earlier scholars. All of them agreed. Illa al-khawarij. Only the khawarij say no, she has to repeat the salat. And that was why our mother asked that lady, Aharuriyatun auntie, do you belong to the khawarij? They are the ones with this nonsense thoughts. Number 4, أن المستحاضة التي تعرف قدر عادة حيضها تحسبها, that a woman that experiences prolonged bleeding, if she knows the days of her normal menstruation, she should calculate those days. Okay, my menstruation is 3 days. After 3 days, take your shower, disregard and discountenance the blood that comes after. It is prolonged bleeding. ثم تغتسل بعد انقضائها. She should take a bath. She should take a bath after the blood has ceased flowing. لتقوم أيام طهورها بالعبادات, so that she can resume the act of worship during her days of purity. التي تتجنبها الحائض. You know, the days during which a menstruating woman abandons act of worship. We also learn from this hadith أن الدم نجس يجب غسله, that blood is an impurity which should be washed. Is an impurity. This is not a matter of consensus among the ulama. Some of them do not consider blood to be an impurity. It has to be washed. Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala in his madhab, if I'm very correct, said a woman that experiences postpartum bleeding and prolonged bleeding does not need to be washing the blood from her body. She should pray even if the blood is flowing like a river. She should keep praying. Because this blood is like a normal blood, is discountenanced. But some of the ulama consider blood to be an impurity, and that is why if you are observing salat and blood is flowing, especially if it is much, you are asked to leave the salat and go and take care of yourself, then come and start all over. We learn from this hadith أنه لا يجب على المستحاضة تكرار الغسل لكل دخول وقت الصلاة. That it is not compulsory for a woman experiencing prolonged bleeding to bathe repeatedly for salat, because that prolonged bleeding is not the same as haid. But there are riwayat of this hadith and of another one, the one we read next, that the lady used to perform ghusl for each salat. Some of the scholars said, if you are experiencing prolonged bleeding, there are 3 ways by which you can observe salat. Number 1, shower for each salat. And this was what the Sahabiya used to do. فَكَانَتْ تَغْتَسِلُ لِكُلِّ صَلَاةٍ. The riwayah that says the Prophet commanded her to be bathing for each salat is not correct. She herself used to do it. But this may be difficult. Imagine that you are a student and you are experiencing prolonged bleeding. So you are in school for Zuri and Asri. How are you going to be showering for each of the salat? But this is one option. The second option is to be showering 3 times a day and combining salat, because istihādah is due to sickness. For Zuhri and Asri, she can delay Zuhri and bring Asri forward. Take one shower to combine Zuhri and Asri. 4 rakat, not 2. For Maghrib and Isha, she can delay Maghrib and bring forward Isha, and then she takes one shower and observe Maghrib and Isha. And then for Subhi prayer, she takes one shower. What has she done? 3 showers in a day. Have you seen the 2 opinions? Shower for each salat, 1 opinion. 3 showers in a day, combining salat. The third is to be washing her private parts when it is time for salat. Wear a pad so that the blood will not stain her clothes and body, and ensure that she only performs ablution at the commencement of the time of salat. She will not perform ablution down 30 minutes before salat, when salat has not entered. She should wait for the time of salat to enter, perform one ablution where she has padded herself, and then pray. So she has to wait for the time of salat to commence to perform ablution. So these are how the istihādah can observe a salat. And finally, ذكر ابن الدقيق العيد in his إحكام الأحكام أن قوله, that the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَغُسِلِي عَنْكِ الدَّمَ وَصَلِّي, wash the blood from your body and observe salah. مُشْكِلٌ فِي ظَاهِرِهِ, it is confusing if taken literally. لأنه لم يذكر الغسل, because he didn't say take a shower. فَغُسِلِي عَنْكِ الدَّمَ, wash the blood from your body. He didn't say take a shower. Do you understand? Wash the blood means wash your private parts, not take a shower. وَلَا بُدَّ فِيهِ بَعْدَ انْقِضَاءِ أَيَّامِ الْحَيْضِ مِنَ الْغُسْلِ. But when a woman has finished her menstruation, it is compulsory to take the shower. Allah said, فَإِذَا تَطَهَّرْنَ, when they are taking their shower. But this hadith did not mention taking shower. وَالْجَوَابُ الصَّحِيحِ, the correct answer to this issue raised by Ibn Daqiq al-Eid is that أن هذه الرواية وإن لم يذكر فيها الغسل فهي متضمنة له. Even though it does not contain the mention of ghusl, it has implied ghusl. Impliedly. متضمنة, impliedly. لوروده في الرواية الأخرى, because in another riwayah we saw فَاغْتَسِلِي, take your shower. Look at the riwayah we read earlier. وَلَكِنْ دَعِي الصَّلَاةَ قَدْرَ الْأَيَّامِ الَّتِي كُنْتِ تَحِيضِينَ فِيهَا ثُمَّ اغْتَسِلِي, and then take your shower. So it has been mentioned in other riwayat. So we will do the tafsir of this one with that one, since it has been mentioned. So لورودي في الرواية الأخرى الصحيحة التي قال فيها واغتسلي. Prophet mentioned take your shower. So in summary, these are the issues about hayd and istihādah. Istihādah is a rupture in the vein. And I mentioned the riwayah that Prophet said, إِنَّهَا رُقْضَةٌ مِّن رَقَضَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Shaitan is the one that has kicked the vein in order to cause confusion in your ibadat. He's the one playing pranks. So do not abandon salat when you experience prolonged bleeding. Count the number of days of your normal haidah. Last month, 2 months ago, how many days did I experience menstruation? Stay away from salat for those days. The moment that those days have been concluded, resume salat, take your shower, resume salat, even if you still see blood. And I also mentioned that The ulama said there are about 4 major differences between the blood of menstruation and that of prolonged bleeding. Number one is that the menstrual blood is darkish in color. Normal blood is red or brownish. So women know what I'm talking about. Many of us are just reading the theory. I have never seen it before in my life, so it's just what the ulama said in the book that I'm telling you. I don't know how it looks like, but the ulama have experience. Number two is that the menstrual blood has a foul smell. Normal blood doesn't have foul smell. Number three, the menstrual blood is thick. Normal blood is light. And number four, the menstrual blood does not clot, but normal blood clots. Then some of the ulama also mentioned the issue of the burning sensation that women experiences during menstruation. It comes out with pain, but that one, the normal blood does not come out with pain. You just feel something that's exited your body. So Allah Ta'ala Alam. Then the last point I want to mention is that if a sister has just attained puberty, how will she know her days of menstruation? How will she know this one is a menstrual blood, this one is not a menstrual blood, when she has never seen any before? Now, there are about 3 ways. Number one is if she can be taught the differences that I mentioned earlier. Come, you see this one? When you see this blood, the mother should collect the part from her, right? You see this one? This is the menstrual blood. It is dark. You smell it? You smell it. She should teach her these differences. That is one way. Now, you said that is the duty of mothers. I cannot teach my daughter. I don't even know when they do their own thing. The only thing I get to know is that they are not praying. Oh, you're not. Oh, sorry. Oh, have you prayed? No, we are off today. I don't have the calendar in my head, so what do you expect me to do? Is the duty of the mother. I will only supply the fiqh part. They will supply the practical part. The second way is she should maintain 6 to 7 days. There's a riwayah on that, which is the average number of days women do menstruation, 6 to 7, since it is her beginning. And the third and the last one is that she should ask the women in her family, her mother, her sister, her aunt. Usually, women within a family have similar number of days of menstruation. I didn't say in all cases, so usually, you two reason now. Calculate your number of days now. Call your mother and ask your mother. Ask your sister. Usually, they have the same number of days. So she can use that one as the template for her own menstruation. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه.